What's up, Ocean? You got Matt here, and welcome to the first duel replay that you're going to see on this channel. We're going to try and bring you guys more of these. Ideally, down the line, we get to do at least one of these a week, where we hop on YuGiOh Pro and we can just go over some duels we have for the decks we are shouting out. So starting off with the Dino deck, if you guys missed the full deck profile with the descriptions of why we are running what we're running, make sure to go back and check it out. It was 2 weeks ago, and if you want to see a combo guide, that was last week. The links will be up in the top right corner. But this is the list that we are bringing today, and we're going to go ahead and jump into two best of 3 games. First game that we're going to see is going to be up against, I believe it was, oh my god, I'm blanking on which one it was. It was actually going to be against Blackwing. It was more of like a non-meta game, and then the next one was against Gold Pride Punk, which I thought was a bit better. So we're going to start off with this one over here. So this one here, let's go ahead and swap things around because we are on this side here. Our opponent's going to go ahead and start off with a small world. He's going to just go ahead and go absolutely crazy with this combo. Honestly, I'm not the most familiar when it comes to the Blackwing deck. All I know is that it puts up a massive board full of synchros that's like burn damage and effect negation and cards that are unaffected by other cards, and it is always going to be like there's some trap cards that are available. It is a massive combo fest. It does kind of lose to Nib, but it is still a very scary deck nonetheless. On top of that, this new card right here, which I'm gonna go ahead and pause it right now. This card right over here, the was it Shamga the Waning Moon, is a really great extender for Blackwing. It's a very strong card, allows you to destroy cards. It's just a free extender to the field, a tuner as well. It does everything the deck really wants, which is obviously insane. So my opponent here is going to keep going off. He's going to go finally into the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, which is going to be able to get him a negate for a card on the field. He goes into Warlord Savage Dragon here. I don't know why. There's no links in the grave, but it's actually more so just to synchro into Bestial Dispatter, which is another form of negation as well. So a very scary card nonetheless. He then goes into the Full Armor Master, which is negate, or not negate, but is immune to activated effects, or any effects rather, that any other card's effects, I should say. And then he goes into the Black Winged Assault Dragon, which is a really good burn tool. Think of like Masquerade the Blazing Dragon on like steroids. It is crazy. 700 damage for every monster effect that I do, but on top of this, it can be like a Raigeki or a Dark Hole really, which is insane. So we're gonna go ahead and start off our turn here. We're gonna go with well, of course, Nib is our 6th card. We're gonna go for the Ground Xeno here and pop our baby for our well, for a special summon of our, I think in this case here, it's going to be our Solean Overraptor, that's right, and we have our Xeno Meteorosis to be able to summon to our side of the field. We're going to activate the effect of the Overraptor to get negated, unfortunately, by the Hot Red Dragon Arcane Abyss. We go into Barone here, and our opponent's going to go ahead and try and find a way to pop the Barone. We negate it, and then we try and go for a destruction effect. And in this case here, we're going to try and destroy this over here, which we are going to be able to, unfortunately, not get off. It's going to be negated as well. We go into our Amateur Archosaur, which is, again, negated once more. Wow, it's a lot of negation. We're going to synchro into Cross Sheep just to get a card here because we can go into our Transcendrake and Gigantozauer, and here we're going to actually get, well, honestly, shit on really. We're going to have our effect negated by Bestial Dispater, and then we're going to be able to get back our Xeno Meteorosis, but that's really all she wrote. Then I go to battle phase here, I attack over the Hot Red Dragon, but that's really all I can do, so I just surrender here, and we can go ahead and go to game number 2. Moving on to game 2, we're going to start. We did a bunch of siding here. We're actually going to start with a pretty decent hand here. We're going to activate our Lost World rather, and use the effect of Ground Xeno to grab our copy of Scrap Raptor, destroying the Pancratops. It's not doing too much here. We go and activate the effect of Scrap Raptor, destroying itself to get our Scrap Chimera. We're then going to normal summon the Scrap Chimera off the effect of Scrap Raptor, summoning back the Raptor, going into our Wyvern, using the effect of Wyvern to bring back the Raptor, and then pop the Raptor, summon another Raptor from the deck, and then we're going to go ahead and pop the token on our opponent's side of the field, protecting it with our Lost World to gut out our Overraptor as well, which is great to get our Xeno Meteorosis. We're going to pop now the token to bring back the baby, use the effect of Misk, and then chain, of course, our Meteorosis to be able to summon that thing, go into Barone to get a pop. I misplayed here. I should have gone for the effect of the Mythnosaurus first, but instead I go into my Petit Pteranodon, which will get me access to another card on the field to destroy. We get our pill. We're going to use the effect of the Petit Pteranodon to get into a Giant Rex, go into Linkuriboh, go into Appaloosa, has one less negate. We're going to actually, well, negate the effect of Magma to search in the end phase with our Appaloosa, which is one less negate on it, unfortunately, meaning it only has, what, 2 left? 1 left? Something like that? 1 left, actually. Anyways, we get into a Borreload Savage Dragon as well, get the Wyvern on, so we now have a negate with our Barone, a negate with our Appaloosa. We have our Ultimate Tyranno as well with the Book of Eclipse rather, and of course our Borreload Savage Dragon, which are obviously great cards. And I did, for some reason, just forget to set Imperm. We get Kaiju here, unfortunately, and our opponent's going to go absolutely crazy with this combo. He's going to go for the Gale the Whirlwind here as his normal summon to get into the new Blackwing monster. We're going to negate the effect of Gale with our Appaloosa. It has now no more negations on it. In this case here, we're going to see just, well, I'm going to negate the effect of the, what was it, Black Winged Feather Dragon? Black Feather Whirlwind, that's the one. And he's going to eat our board. but we still have access to a Barone, and we still have access to one negate on our Scrap Wyvern to pull it into a second copy of Imperm, which is just useless. But at this point here, our opponent has so few resources left. We still have a negate with the Barone, so we're really not too concerned. We just attack, set both of our Imperms, and we pass the turn. Our opponent top stacks Zephyros, which is a good enough body to be able to trigger off Black Whirlwind. We negate and destroy that, and I chain the Imperm just in case there's going to be something you can do with the Black Feather Whirlwind, and that is going to be GG. So we move on to game number 3, all coming down to this. Game number 3, we are going second. I'm going to swap this around once again. So our opponent is going to go ahead and just pop off here once again, but I have Nib. The main thing is, I don't know when is the right time to interrupt this combo. I really don't have enough experience playing against Blackwing, so especially this new form of Blackwing. But good news, I do have Imperm and I do have a Kaiju. So I know there are cards that are unaffected by other cards' effects, which is going to be like the Nibiru, but I do have a Gamma Seal for that. So I felt like it was good to just wait until my opponent tries to leave the main phase, and then I'll go ahead and nib here. So I'm just gonna let him do his entire thing, go crazy, go into the Blackwing Dragon, the old one, go into the Hot Red Dragon, Archfiend Abyss, and then just go crazy, get into his Bestial Dissipator if he needs to, get into the Full Armor Master as well, whichever one he needs to do, I don't mind. I'm just waiting until he says leaving the main phase. So we're gonna take a bit of chip damage here as well. It doesn't matter too much. Black Whirlwind's gonna trigger again. What a crazy card. And in this case here, he does pick up, I'm going to pause it right here, this card over here, which I believe, if I'm mistaken, is actually a negate for a card, right? Where is it going to be? Yeah, there we go, negates effect. So basically it's a negate in hand, like an effect failure, which is a little annoying. So we got to keep that in mind as well. It's another card for us to deal with. This card here is immune to any card effects, which is important. And there is the Masquerena. We get the prompt, I drop the nib, and then he's going to go into, well, this one over here. So this card here is a massive problem. I'm going to take so much residual burn damage, and really I only have a few effects to actually try and win the game here. On top of that, we have a card that's unaffected, and this card will just obliterate the entire board. Heavy Storm and Dark Hole, really not much we can do about it. So we have this, we're gonna go ahead and draw for turn here, and we draw into Mist. Now I'm gonna go ahead and just Kaiju the Full Armor Master, go ahead and normal summon the Oviraptor. We're gonna chain Miscellaneous Source to response to Chinook to be able to protect our Oviraptor, and then we're gonna be able to add a copy of Baby Ceratosaurus, banishing our Mist to be able to summon Archosaur, popping, of course, the Baby Ceratosaurus. We're gonna take a ton of chip damage here, which is fine. We're gonna get into our Double Evolution Pill, and we're gonna try and just go for game right here and see if we have any way to get to lethal, which I feel like we do. Problem is, it's getting dangerously close to the what is it called, Assault Dragon, to 4 counters, and in this case I already got 5, so we can just destroy the field. The good news is, and this is where destruction is great, because my opponent has a really hard time trying to decide when to go for the destruction on my field, because if he tries to destroy while I have a Baby Ceratosaurus up, first of all, it won't get destroyed because I have Mist, but second, what's the value that he's getting? I can always just Barone this at this point now. There really was no time for him to actually do it, because the only value he'd be getting on my side of the field is the Nibiru. He'd be like -6ing himself, which is insane. So we're gonna go into our Barone here. Now we have a destruction effect. We're gonna destroy the set trap card, which I'm going to also negate with the Barone. And now at this point in time here, our opponent is actually going to go ahead and just, well, try and find a way to make us not get lethal. We're going to Pentastack here. We're then going to go ahead and use the effect of our pill to be able to get into our UCT. And now we have a way to threaten lethal in a way, because we have a ton of bodies on board, we have a ton of offense, and our opponent doesn't really have any follow-up outside, of course, the small world, which we don't really know is in his hand. So I'm going to go ahead and use the effect of UCT. My opponent's going to chain the Blackwing Assault Dragon, and then we're going to be able to, of course, resolve it, go into another copy of Baby Ceratosaurus. The reason I'm doing that is because if my opponent goes into a monster that is going to be able to be annoying and synchro off, I want to be able to have my UCT to destroy the baby to be able to then get into a Soul Eating Oviraptor to pop off from there. I also have an Imperm, which I do not forget to set this time around, and we're going to pass the turn. Our opponent is going to be able to pick up and draw an Imperm, which is not going to do too much. He goes for Small World here. He's going to be able to reveal the Ball Drake, getting Gale, which I don't really know why. He negates the UCT, doesn't matter. He's then going to reduce it again, doesn't matter. Goes to end phase. He should have attacked and destroyed the baby, but this game's over. We're going to go ahead and just Book of Moon that thing, get our Oviraptor, and then that's going to be GG's. So we end up taking that 2 wins to 1 basically, and I will definitely take it for our first replay on the channel. Moving on to our next replay, we are going over Gold Pride Punk, one of the coolest decks in the format in my mind. We're going to start off by going first, Fossil Dig into the Miscellaneous Source, normal summon the Oviraptor, go ahead and pick up a copy of the Scrap Raptor. We're going to go ahead for the Miscellaneous Source. We're then going to banish the Mist to be able to summon Archosaur to be able to pop Petit Pteranodon, and Petit is going to be able to add us the Double Evolution Pill, Petit effect, chaining the Xeno to be able to special summon the Giant Rex. And we're not really going with Baby Ceratosaurus. We're going to go into the Barone. I'm going to link into Secure Gardener. I'll be able to get into my UCT, affect the Giant Rex, bring it back, and then I can go into a copy of Lagia. So right now my turn here is really not bad. I have Imperm here for an effect negation. I have Barone here for an effect negation. I have UCT with a live pop in the Secure Gardener, and I have a Solemn Judgment in my Lagia. Really not a bad first turn at all for the hand that we were dealt with. I felt like it wasn't the most perfect hand, and honestly, trying to play around things like Ash and Valor, all those stuff like that is very difficult with this specific deck. But we're going to go ahead and just pass off to our opponent. They're going to pick up, of course, the best card in their deck for a turn. They're going to go ahead and go through the Punk Engine here, which honestly, I'm kind of content just saying, do what you got to do. I really don't mind just not doing anything until they get to like the fusion, because I don't want that to resolve really. So they're going to go ahead and use the jam session. They're going to be able to use the effect of, I think it was the Xeno there, I'm not sure. They go ahead and use the effect of the Better Luck Next Time, and we're going to go ahead and negate the effect of the fusion monster, and they're going to go into the Roller Baller here and go into Star Leon, go to battle phase, main 2. I'm going to go ahead and use the effect of the UCT. I'm going to go ahead and then they're going to chain the Ogre for some reason, don't know why. We're then going to go ahead and just continue that. They're, I believe, going to go for chain 3, which is Roller Baller, and I negate that with the Imperm. I do not want to see the Pinballer hit my side of the field. That could be very, very scary for me to deal with, so I don't want to touch it because I believe it would be unaffected, or we would not be able to respond to the effect of it with our YuGiOh, which is very, very important to note. So in this case here, the chain's going to resolve. Our card will get destroyed, but we book a moon on our opponent's entire board. We get Lost World, which doesn't really matter. I use the effect of the Barone to pop the trap because the trap needs to be to normal summon first. Then I can go ahead and normal summon the Scrap Raptor, use the effect of Lost World, and then boom, there's a token. Use the effect of Raptor and just kind of go off here. And just from there, we're able to at least try and pop the token with the effect of our Scrap Wyvern to be able to actually summon cards from our deck and really get the ball rolling, which is really, really strong. So in comes the Wyvern effect, getting the Scrap Raptor, popping the Lost World, or the token rather, to pop our baby, getting out Overraptor. Overraptor search for the UCT. UCT will be able to banish 2 here after our Pentastack, and that is going to be GG's from here because we have piercing damage and a 0 attack monster, 0 defense monster. We are fine in this situation. So really good way to just show off what we have to do. The negating Barone was nice. We didn't have to use the YuGiOh, but it was still a really, really clutch hand there. Game 2, we are going second, and we're going to go ahead and switch these things around here. Bayupa Nib, which is obviously a great card against this, but the problem is my opponent has triple tactics talents, which could be deadly. There's also an Ash Blossom, which is terrifying as well, because a lot of my plays revolve around going for Misk Banish and then getting into my Animadorn Archosaur to be able to pop a baby. And if I can't banish with Misk to be able to special summon, then what can I do? It's really tough. Anyways, here I'm going to go ahead and use the Nibiru. It might have been a little bit early, and my opponent's going to tactics here. I just felt like at this point I want to kind of shut off a lot of the engine that he had with the Gold Pride stuff, but he goes into the Punk engine right now, which is obviously unfortunate, and is really going to allow him to get a lot of value off here. He does only set 2, which is a little bit surprising me. I thought he'd be able to extend a bit further, but he isn't. We draw Dark Ruler. It does nothing here. I was kind of thinking he's going to have a bigger board that I might have to crack. Maybe if I can get rid of something like the if it's a Roller Baller that's on my side, my opponent's side of the field, I can go for the Dark Ruler. They can't respond. Then I can at least not have to worry about getting pinballered for my entire life. Either way, we're going to go ahead and start off with a copy of Fossil Dig to grab, obviously, our Miscellaneous Source, normal summon the Overraptor, but we get drolled, unfortunately, so we have to actually send this card to the graveyard. My opponent's going to try and negate this. We actually chain our Miscellaneous Source to protect, and then he goes for the Starter Engines, which will destroy my Overraptor anyways. We still get to send here, and I send the Petite Pteranodon. In this case here, I probably should have sent the, my Giant Rex, but either way, we're going to go ahead and just start doing a lot more plays here. I'm actually just going to call it here. The reason why I called it here was because I realized, wait a minute, I can't add the UCT, the pill, off of my Archosaur. So Droll just completely shut me down there, and it was just me being stubborn and wasting time on the clock. So in an actual tournament, I would have definitely had to scoop earlier to not waste that precious time that we are, well, very, very rarely afforded. Moving on though, we're going to go ahead to our game number 3. Game number 3, we're going to go ahead and, we're going to go ahead and load replay. And here we are to start. We have first picks here. We're going to go ahead and activate our Lost World, use the effect of Ground Xeno. This is a crazy combo here, Lost World, Ground Xeno, and Baby Ceratosaurus. We're going to be able to summon out our copy of Overraptor here, Overraptor effect. And of course, Chainlink 2 will be Lost World. We're going to get our Baby Ceratosaurus, normal baby, effect of the Overraptor, destroy baby, summon back the baby, baby effect, and be able to get me into the Scrap Raptor. Scrap Raptor here, I actually misclicked. Unfortunately, I sent the Scrap Raptor, which is not what I want to do. We lose an extra body on the board, but it doesn't really matter because our hand is really, really strong, and we have a great way around basically everything we need to do. Our opponent does have Ash. Not going to matter too much. We get into the full scrap combo, try and pop the Lost World token. We pop the baby in our deck instead, use the effect of the baby to get out our Animadorn effect to be able to search. And then, of course, we have so much going on here. We get into Cross, we fusion summon with our, I think, our Miscellaneous Source and our normal. Get into the Gigantizeller, special summon back a baby, add a baby back to hand, Misk effect, banish, and our opponent just doesn't activate anything, which was surprising. Either way, we're going to go ahead and get into our Barone. Barone will pop to get into our Xenometeorosis. At this point, we can pop our baby to summon out the Frostosaurus, and baby will summon out the Giant Rex. We're then going to go ahead and go into Solda here, double evolution pill, and then our opponent's going to Ash here so we can't get into the UCT. Now, this is actually a really smart play from them. Obviously, they could have just said, I'm going to negate the the miscellaneous source, but it doesn't really matter too much. Getting rid of the UCT is obviously a threat because that card gives me advantage as well if I destroy my Gigantozauer, because I can then add a card back to my hand and I can also destroy. The text on Gigantozauer is really strong here because where is it? Come on now, there we go, Gigantozauer, and basically, there we go. This card is destroyed. You can shuffle one normal monster from your graveyard into the deck, then you can special summon this card. You can only use one effective Gigantozauer once per turn, but basically, if this card's destroyed from the graveyard, then I can destroy 2 cards, one from my hand or field, one from my opponent controls. And that's going to give me even more advantage there. So it didn't make sense. And if Cross was still in the field, I get even more advantage if I summon it to a zone that it points to. So there was so much that I could do. So it was the right play, I think, to just hold off. It ended up working out well for them. Anyways, we're going to continue on. We're going to see Sharakusai come out. We're going to go use this effect. We're going to go into the Rising Carp there. We're going to use the effect of Solid to stop that. And then our opponent's going to go ahead for better luck. Next time, I'm going to use the effect of Baron to negate that. And our opponent's going to draw 2 with Tactics. And then he's going to go into Captain Carry. Get these Starter Engines, or what is it? Which one is this here? The Starter Engines. Go into Asa. I negate that here. Probably a mistake. I think it definitely was a mistake. Our opponent's gonna go for Xiamen, use the effect, get access to the Foxy Tune effect, sending the Starter Engines, and go into the Dragon Drive, and then go for Deer Note, Sharakusai, all that. Everything's happening here. All the entire Punk Engine is popping off. And honestly, at this point here, I'm looking like, what are you really gonna do? I'm like, my opponent goes into a season like, oh. And then he goes for Zeus. I'm like, shit, well, thank God it's only 3 materials, because now it's only a 1 activation, and I actually have Lost World and Overraptor in hand, which is full combo, and I pick up Solemn Judgment as well, which is one of my favorite cards going first in this deck. Overraptor 1, Lost World 2, and then we just kind of go off to the races. We have a very clear way to get to UCT, and because we'll have the Solemn Judgment as well, we should be fine. My cat just sneezed into the mic, unfortunately, there. But either way, we're gonna go for the UCT, bring back our Giant Rex, battle phase, we're gonna clear over everything as well, taking 1,000 damage for him. We can't attack directly with our Giant Rex. It would not be game. It would be game, but we're gonna go into Lagi here. So we have 2 Judgments, and of course our UCT. Our opponent goes for Psychic Tracker, sets 1, and that's gonna be all she wrote. There's really not much they can do here. So we end up getting another 2-1 victory in this video. So guys, that's gonna be it for this. Obviously, this is my first time doing commentary on this style of a video, so I would love to hear your thoughts and your suggestions for what I can do to do better. I would love to hear it. Obviously, you guys, make sure to subscribe to the channel as well. We're on the road to 1,000 subs. We recently passed 600, so shout out to you guys. And of course, comment your thoughts on it down below, and leave a like if you want to see more videos like this, or if you want to be featured and played against for one of these videos. I would love to hear it. So guys, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all next time.